Hi guys, we are about to embark on one of the most historic moments that has occurred in most of our lifetimes. It's important to know that this particular 4th of July, it's not another day of picnics, another day of the status quo where you go back and, it's not another day of the status quo. This is truly historic. The freedom that we are about to celebrate is the liberation of mankind from the power structure that has enslaved us for so long. That is our true independence. And it's not the United States, it's worldwide. So I couldn't think of any better topic to share with you on this day where we celebrate our freedom and our liberation than a man who gave his life working to free us from the enslavement. And that's my dear friend, Dan Willis. And Dan and I spoke a lot about med beds. I'm going to show you, as I went through this, it's kind of difficult for me still to do this, but I had so much on it and I had to cut it off. So there may be more emails forthcoming, and there may not, I don't know. But I just was unable to go through everything. But that doesn't mean I have a whole lot already for you, a whole lot. And as I sit here and watch how this all unfolded, I went back to my first email, which was just an email on, might have to put my glasses on for this one, an email on January 14th, 2024. And all it said was, "Hi, Dan here." I had no idea who this man was or anything at the time. So, I kind of just thought it was just anybody else. I didn't know who Dan Willis was at the time. And if you know my background, you know that I don't have a lot of, I'll take these off, I hate them, but you know that I don't have a lot of background from my childhood. I have very, very few memories. I was born on a military base. I'm going to give it to you in a nutshell, but I was born in a military base. I was in Catholic schools my whole life with some very unusual situations, apparently. And for some reason, I have this thing about Lemuria and being close to the water. So I don't know what my background is. Susan says I'm a starseed. I don't know what I am. All I know is that I was approached by Dan Willis, and he mentored me. He literally mentored me. And you'll see as I go through reading these that he guided me every step of the way. And there's many, many more missing. I chose just the ones for med beds because that's what everybody's waiting for. And that is going to be the most substantial advancement in the liberation of mankind. So let's get started. I showed you the first one. I'm going to get started here now and take a look. Don't forget, this is so obvious how real the med beds are. So I want you to share this. I want you to become, because Dan tasked me, Dan told me, and you will see that. He's told me many, many, many times how important the awakening is and to awaken up other people. And apparently that has also become your job. I don't know how it became mine, but apparently it's also become yours. So, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid when people laugh at you. Screw them. Okay? You know what's really going on. So, start awakening people. Share these videos. Talk to them. Just say, look at this crazy lady, if that's what you want to do. Or somebody else. I don't care. But let them see what Dan did and what Dan shared with me. And it's kind of odd because as I go through this, I had such a blessing that most people on this planet never would have by knowing this man. He sent me mountains of information, and as I go through this, I know that there's things here, and I'm seeing that there's things here that I never even read or researched. He sent me lots of links, and I just didn't have the time at the time. I didn't do the research, and at the time I was just overwhelmed. I was doing research, but not particularly on emails, because those of you that have my email know I'm really bad on emails. So anyway, and I was with Dan kind of, but not so much. I was thrilled to see him. So let's go through these. Okay, the first one is March 14th, 2024 that I'm sharing today. Like I said, he originally contacted me January 14th. And we had some emails go back and forth. Nothing great. It was about things that I prefer not to share because I don't want to share something I shouldn't, first of all, and I don't want to put his family in any kind of danger by sharing any photographs or anything. He was very proud of the life that he had. Okay, so this one on March 14th says, "Hi, Spirit. I posted on Facebook your video on holographic healing and got a lot of nice comments. I just wanted to mention on your video on Valiant Thor." So this is how he would guide me privately. He mentored me in so many ways. He said, "Valiant is the name that Frank Stranges gave. His actual name is Val Thor. He has 5 fingers, not 6. Because apparently in one of the videos I said 6. Elena's book titled, We Will Never Let You Down, not We Will Never Leave You. We Will Not Leave You." So he corrected me on that. "Hope this feedback is useful. I think you are doing great work. Just don't want to see technical inaccuracies discredit your work. Warm regards, Dan." So, of course, I was grateful for that. That was March 14th. Oh, that was later. So these are out of order, but you get the point. Okay, so anyway, that one got in too early. On January 15th, 2024, he contacted me January 14th. Okay, here's our communications. On January 15th, I must have sent him something. I think it was private. One other thing, if you or anyone that you are affiliated with notice anything that is inaccurate in my videos, is what I was talking about, in what I'm posting, please let me know and I will correct it. Is it okay to speak about the Phyrll generator? Thank you. Dan got back at 1:42 on January 15th and he said, "Hi, Spirit. Hello, I am doing this at 6 p.m. PST today using the technique that Jen Han has shared." And it was a Facebook event, which I went to, and it's no longer up or I couldn't find it. I'm going to go through a lot of these links and add them, but I wanted to get the video up first. And then there's going to be a lot in the description for you to research. And he always verified everything he had. So he said, "I was wondering if I could ask your advice on how to use the AI-generated images to display visualization of a positive timeline. I'm editing this, but the words are at the bottom of this page in section 6, and he gave me that. It was one of Dr. Marcel Vogel's pages. "I wish I had had more time to prepare and do this. I will be glad to answer all your questions, but have to work on this in the next few hours I have left. Warm regards, Dan." So that was January 15th. So I wanted to stop right now and say something about this. The other day when we first lost Dan and I realized it, I went immediately to his crystal design for the Phyrll generator, and it was taken down. The links were bad. It was Marcel Vogel's site, which Dan also managed and took over for Dr. Vogel. But it was that site that had been taken down. I went today as I was doing this to hit some of these links, and the site's back up. It appears to have all the information on it. I am not an expert in this. I don't know whether his team of experts took it down. I don't know whether the government took it down. I don't know whether the new government told him to put it back. I don't know anything. All I know is it was down for a couple days, and it's up. If you want to learn about this free energy generator, I'm going to put the link in there for you in the description. And hopefully it hasn't been cleansed in any way or altered. So just understand that there is a possibility that it's been altered because it was down. Okay, so the next one is January 17th, 2024 from me. And there might be a couple silly ones here, but good morning, Dan. I hope you are well. A couple of questions and a thought. The topic of med beds appears to be what everybody wants to know about. 1, are the Phyrll and the med beds the same basic technology? 2, The truthers are telling people that the med beds will be out this month. People are getting disillusioned with this entire thing. Would it be correct for me to do a video telling people that the med bed and energy technology is almost ready, but it must first be secured from people who would misuse it against us? So you see, when I say these things, guys, I was being guided. I didn't tell you things without getting validation of it. In the meantime, the following practices, solfeggio, diet, etc., can start you on the path to optimal health until this technology is given to us. And that they should be grateful because a wonderful future awaits them, something like that. I'm asking them for a little guidance. I said, sorry to bother you. I don't want to be another one of those people that although perhaps well-meaning, are causing people to lose hope. Any guidance is greatly appreciated. All my best, Spirit. That was at on the 17th at 9:28 in the morning. Dan came back at 2:16 that day, and he said, hi, Spirit, answers are below. And I'm going to read those to you. So regarding the Phyrll and the med beds, the same basic technology. No. Now here's where the technical stuff goes, guys. Phyrll removes dissonance in the oscillations of the body and heals the body in that manner, as described by Jen Hahn at the bottom of this page. And it's a Vogel page, so hopefully it will still be there. I'll be doing those links. The med beds take a complete holographic... So do you have that? The Phyrll works through frequency only. And it removes dissonance, disharmonic stuff in there, okay? In your frequency. The med beds take a complete holographic recording of you from the moment of your conception to present, and then can tune through time in the holographic field and select moments or slides in time where all of your body parts were in their optimal state. It then combines the optimal pattern into the pattern that is projected onto your body. They also use sound to key in these structures. As Jen Hahn has said, the universe tends to perfection. Keep that in mind. This is pearls of wisdom, guys. It tends to perfection, and I always thought just the opposite. Therefore, the old pattern will morph into the more perfect pattern. According to Jen Hahn, I know this stuff as he revealed to me that this was my specialty, holographic medical science, during my past life as an Atlantean scientist. So we talked about that a number of times. I don't remember, but I have a sense of knowing of this. And this is the same thing with me as far as Lemuria goes. I don't know it. I can't say I know anything. All I know is I just have a sense of something going on there. Jan Hahn told Dan that he was a scientist in Atlantis. And Dan and I talked about that many times and where he was going with that and so forth. It looks like I missed a little piece of something here, but or maybe not. But, oh no, there it is. That's the second question. Okay. So, Dan and I talked about different ways we were trying to get in touch with our past lives and what our purpose was and so forth. And I have one where I asked him one day, have you made any progress to your past in Atlantis? And he said, I can't remember a damn thing. It's kind of like his personality was just amazing. Such a pure soul, and he was just great. Okay, so the next thing is, looks like I put the truthers are telling people that the med beds will be out next month, blah, blah, blah. I already read that. And he said, it is good to use all that we have available to us at the present time to maintain our health and heal. So that was about whether I should use the, herbs and tell them that, this is good. This is why I want to get the Phyrll generator out to the world to benefit everyone. Selfless, huh? We have a multi-billionaire who wants to back us. But we have no need for large funding at this time. And that's the kind of man he was. He wouldn't take that kind of money because he didn't want anybody controlling him. He knew this game. So he had somebody offering to fund everything about the generator. And As long as he could, he was going to stay independent. And then he said, through Sasha Stone, we have a direct contact with Elon Musk as well. And I remember this when it was going on. Sasha did a interview with Elon. Now they're not all over the media rubbing hands. Sasha's a person that lives over in Bali, I think, and he's a very mystic kind of person. If you've never met Sasha Stone, but remember that Sasha Stone, who knew Dan Willis. And this is not that they were buds, like, I don't know if they exchanged I don't think they exchanged a lot of emails and stuff, but they were professional relationships that they had. So Dan knew Sasha, Sasha knew Musk, had interviewed him. So Musk knows what's going on here. You can bank on that. And then Dan says, there is a lot of disinformation being pulled out. I did a show on the web matrix, counter disclosure, and many of these things, my videos have been patterned off of, so you may have seen them, but I'm going to put all of this stuff for you to look when you want to. Anyone who gives a date is to be questioned. You got that? This comes from the top. Anybody who gives a date is to be questioned. As the future plan is in dynamic flux, so a date is incorrect if given. What is correct is that there is a series of events that needs to unfold before the medbeds are released, such as the deep state elements being dismantled first. We have talked about this, guys. I've said it so many times, but I do understand that I have 1,000 videos up there and you haven't seen every one of them. So please understand, I'm so glad to be able to share this again. You are correct. We don't want this technology in their hands. Also, there will be no profit being made as it will be free. So again, there's reinforcement, it will be free. But it will be prioritized according to those who need it the most first. And then, I had told him, sorry, he quoted me. He said, I have been researching, because I asked about, I don't want to be a bother, although well-meaning people are causing people to lose hope. Dan said, I've been researching for decades and have thoroughly researched many witnesses. Elena Danaan is the real deal. And I can tell you that she's the real deal because she gave me an extraterrestrial show. Okay, so I can tell you she's definitely the real deal. With lights flashing at us when she said it was going to happen. I did a special page analyzing her information. So for those that want to know, Elena is the emissary for the Galactic Federation. If anybody were to announce the medbeds, it would be Elena, and that's never been discussed. So that's not how it's going to come down, guys. No, nobody's going to announce these. It's going to come from the top. And then what he said is he did a special page analyzing her information, and there's things that you just can't make up. There's the link. You are doing important work, and I'm glad to support you and appreciate your help. So that was Dan's response on January 17th at 2:16. Now, I don't know whether, and then at 2:56, then same day, January 17th, so that was 2:16, then 2:56, he said, your medbed video is brilliant. Did you write the script for this? And he puts a link. How did you get that lady's voice to do the narration? This just shows I was so ignorant about all of this stuff that Dan knew about, and he just had not a clue about AI or any of that stuff. I was very impressed by the script that you created, Dan. Then we've got Wednesday, same day, January 17th, and that's me returning back at 3:33. I was quick on that one, a half hour. And then I said, thank you so much, Dan. You are so helpful and enlightening. I have to admit that I keep reading parts of the web matrix, but haven't been able to get through it yet. Also, physics wasn't my favorite in college. I know more about the human body, so I'm a little slow on the uptake with this science. You really clarified a lot for me regarding the medbed technology, and I have some homework. I am posting portions of your emails. Hope that's okay. So I must have posted these or portions of that one in another video. The people love this special source thing. So I am because at the time I didn't want to ride on his coattails. So I just said I had my own private source. But Dan made it very clear to let people know and be open and transparent. So I'm attempting to create some interest in you with a little mystery that is slowly unfolding. I'm sure you would, but please tell me if there is something that you don't want shared. One thing that you might want to know, the YouTube algorithm suppresses a channel where you put external links that pull people off of YouTube and onto another website. So I'm still learning about that whole YouTube thing at this time. That includes videos that draw away from YouTube. For this reason, I redacted the links to the web matrix on YouTube, but I am directing them to my Facebook, which will have the links. If you have any YouTube hosted links that you would like me to share, just let me know. So that's why I guess I didn't put the web matrix up there at the time. But you know what? Screw it. Everything's going now. Okay, so have a good day and let me know if there's anything you need. Dan got back on the 17th also at 4:12. That is fine. I am somewhat very public, and anything I say, I have references to the source and reasons why I believe they are valid. But I, like you, am continuing to learn more. With a happy face. It was kind of cool because we both did those happy faces instead of icons. Old timers, I guess. And then he said, that's so cool. And your medbed video info happened to be spot on. So I always had validation on everything I was telling you guys about this. This is the source, guys. And I don't mean me. I mean Dan Willis, Elena Danan. This is the source. And I hope that all of you will go out and become sources for this information. Whether you share something on a Facebook or TikTok or whatever, or whether you decide to make your own video, stick the phone up and make it. Become part of this. Embed yourself in it, and don't worry about what people think, because we are about to be free forever. So then we didn't talk until the next day, and I answered him, great, thank you. Did you see the third video on medbeds? It's all about you. I hope that's okay. And then he says, oh no, going to look. I posted it on my Facebook with a description. My words were represented accurately. Very nice, Spirit. So are you guys getting this idea that he was guiding me, that I was somehow picked by this amazing man? I don't know, guys. I just don't know, but I know in my heart I'm doing what I'm meant to do. So I hope you guys learned from it. And then I just told him on the 19th, I guess I contacted him back that was 11 o'clock at night he was up, that he posted it on Facebook. And then the next morning at 11:52, because I don't get up real early. Now I do. I get up about 8, but at the time maybe I was doing other stuff. I said, I am so honored for you to say that, and I'm excited and humbled to be able to share this important information with people. Thank you. And then there were other ones that went down in the meantime, but then on the 19th at 12:26, oh no, there wasn't. It looks like on the 19th I sent another one. I said, yeah, I did, because I apologized for sending 2. I said, so sorry, my thoughts are streaming. Do you have any understanding of how the other 2 types of medbeds work? And if so, I will create another short on each of those if you have a couple sentences on each or whatever you can share. Even links to others that might know. I think we are reaching a lot of people. That video about you and Shanaz has a 60%. That was the one where I said the experts are talking about it. You may have seen it. I'm going to put all of these links in the description for you. But I might not get them up tonight. I'll do as much as I can. So I said the video about you and Shanaz has a 60% watch duration, which is the highest of any of my videos, and it has the 3 most views in one day, only surpassed by the other 2 medbed videos. So this is what people want, and I'm glad you're chilling about it, guys. I understand when everybody first learned about it, everybody's excited. I want it now. I want it now. I want it now. But slowly, I see you guys evolving and beginning to understand the magnitude of what we're dealing with. It's not about me, 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 me. Fix me, 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 me. We are the future, guys. We are the sacrificers. We are the soldiers. We are the ones that are creating independence for this world, not the U.S. This is our independence, and we're all soldiers in it. So I understand that we all want it. We all want to be better, but this is a change in the control of the entire world by a very dark entity that has propagated and multiplied and spread like a cancer throughout the world. And it started a long, long time ago, guys. A long time ago. Okay, so then it says, it seems the shorts, I was just talking, it seems the shorts are very helping with the YouTube games these days. So then Dan comes back at 2:10 on the 19th, and he says, "Hi, Spirit. I only know the functioning of the holographic medbeds from my reliable sources. Yes, people love under 10-minute videos." Well, you got the blabber here, guys. I don't know what to say. Here is a complete library of information for you. Description of how the medbeds function by Jen Han Aredian. And I have to tell you, somebody made a remark on there that I didn't pronounce it like Alan. Well, I don't have Elena. I don't have a heavy French accent. And that's how Dan, the way I pronounce it is how Dan pronounced it to me. So he pronounced it as Aredian. So, yeah, I don't know what to say. Well, I do know what to say, guys. The minutia doesn't matter. It's not about who knows how to pronounce something and who doesn't. That doesn't matter. It's the core of what we're talking about here, guys. It's about moving beyond this physical 3D life that we have. It's about not seeing people for the physical body that they are, not communicating with the words that they say. It's communicating with the vibrations that they have. It's feeling their energies, understanding their heart, and seeing the spirit within them. That's what this is about, guys. So I'm just saying, I hope that you guys can begin to move past the physical. None of that matters. Words can be anything. People can say anything. And that's not what I want to do, is become efficient or Dan told me to do it that way. Okay, and that's how he pronounced it. That's how I pronounce it. Okay, so he's a description of how the medbeds function by Jen Han Aredian. Some medbed technology uses fractal holographic technology. Let me explain. The fractal core formula of the tissue to repair is recorded. So we're talking about beyond cells, guys. We're talking about the fractals, okay? We're talking about the sacred geometry that everything in our body is built on. We're talking about the fact that we are a fractal of creation. Okay? So what he's saying is the fractal core formula of the tissue to repair is recorded. So the tissue that you want repaired, the fractal of it is recorded. And the perfect, unaltered geometric pattern, again, with the sacred geometry, is reconstructed and superimposed on the damaged pattern. Okay? The old pattern instinctively pairs and morphs into the new one because the universe tends to perfection. Again, we're hearing that. It's a holographic fractal repairing. It's kind of almost like an alignment, a repairing of what the perfection that we are designed to be. Sound frequency is used to tie in the new pattern to the old one. You remember how I explained earlier that holographic structures are constructed or either altered by frequency. So what you're going to hear, guys, is you're going to hear emails of communications of Dan with Jen Han, as well as Captain Randy Kramer and Alex Collier. Okay, so from the communications log, which he always posted his communications with Jen Han on the one of the sites, either the webmatrix.net or the Marcel Vogel site. Okay, the next thing he referred me to was Randy Kramer communication that he had. Randy describes his experiences with the medbed in this secret space program. He says, essentially, let me open that up a little bit, make it bigger for myself, huh? Essentially, it is a combination of two pieces of technology. There's a software element and a hardware element. The software element is able to take blood or tissue samples and get a perfect read of the DNA code from that sample. So whatever they've sampled, the tissue sample in the damaged area, they get the code for that. Then that software is able to take that code, translate it through a software code so that it rebuilds that person to a level of cellular resolution. Now, Randy apparently uses no punctuation, so it's a little difficult here. Okay, so that person to a level of cellular resolution via that genetic code. That's as then an electronic, essentially, image. Okay, so I guess he's trying to say there that it's essentially an electronic image. Now that the hardware element is the holographic projecting lens, which has some special properties to it. So even though I explain this, I'm not giving away this is all the secrets by telling how this works this way. So the holographic projecting, I apologize, like I said, there's the holographic projecting lens then projects that image, that cellular level genetic identical image. Okay? That's what we're talking about. Projections, holographic projections and images of the person that you're treating over the damaged tissue. And one or two things sort of happened at the same time, which is that the damaged cells, through a physical phenomenon, again, a phenomenon of the laws of physics, something called dominant harmonic frequency resonance. I got the video on it, guys, and I did it. I hadn't even read this. Somehow, I don't know who's been leading me to these things, but this is one of those emails that I really didn't read because I was so busy at the time. And I'm like, oh, shoot, just give me the answer, Dan. But I see what he was doing. So I did one on dominant harmonic frequency resonance based on the Gateway experience that was released, a study by the Army that was released and declassified by the CIA. From that one document, I learned so much about how the med beds work and how basically all they do is give our brains the code or the image, the frequency, the sacred geometry to reassemble itself. So he said, so basically that's what happens. The damaged cells, and the video explains it much better than this, to be honest. But the damaged cells are then repaired through dominant harmonic frequency resonance. They will naturally begin to conform and change their shapes back into ideal cells. The other thing that happens is that the nuclei of the damaged cells become fooled. There's also, I did a video on this, it's like a mimicking ability. The brain mimics what it sees. So the nuclei of the damaged cells become fooled by the presence of the holographic cells and the holographic nuclei, that then these cells will continue to grow into. So not only can you restore any damaged tissue, interior or exterior, but you can also restore lost tissue. So a finger that's been blown off a hand, that's blown off an arm, or a leg that's blown off, you can grow all the way down to fingertips or toes and regrow severed and destroyed limbs. It only takes a couple hours, doesn't it? Now, I think that was Dan saying that. It only takes a couple hours, doesn't it? Alex says, well, it depends on how much tissue you have to repair. The more tissue you have to repair, the longer it can take. If I had my hand burnt and had third-degree crispy burns all over it, I could probably get that hand repaired in an hour and a half to 2 hours. So you got crispy burnt hand, you could fix that in an hour to an hour and a half. I'm sorry, an hour and a half to 2 hours. If I lost an arm or had an arm that was fully damaged that could take, the better part of a day, if I had, a couple of arms and a couple of legs that had gone missing and a good portion of my torso, I could be, he does a lot of doesn't he? I could be, in that big regenerating cellular tissue for days. In that thing. So he could be in the med bed, he's calling it the thing, regenerating cellular tissue for several days. So it depends how long it's going to take, guys. It's all on exactly what's being done. You can take a hand like this, right? And repair all of that tissue. Use that as a factor, an hour to an hour and a half. Because what you're doing, basically, it's the same thing no matter what's wrong with you. If you have a damaged kidney, it's repairing that size of tissue, those cells. And it's just basically, it's not even some cells are harder to repair than the other. It's basically projecting that on there and the body's doing it. So if you've got something about that size that needs repaired, an organ or whatever, that's about what we're looking at, it looks like, an hour and a half to 2 hours. If you have much larger, and now a good question arises about the nervous system. But basically think of it this way. The nervous system is so tiny. So it seems to me that from what Randy was telling us, is that even your entire nervous system could be done relatively quickly if you have some kind of neurological condition. Okay, so next, he also shared a communication he had with Alex Collier. And then he gave me the video link, which again we'll put. Alex Collier in this video describes how the medbed holographically functions. We can share this updated version, so this is coming from Alex. We can share this updated version as well for everyone with everyone. So, for everyone with everyone. So just on and on. So share. So let's just start it off with the med beds in the holographic technology. It's also color, light, sound. Color, light, sound, and frequency. Okay? The knowledge and the holographs. The sound being the frequencies, the light being, these are light waves, and then the color, which are part of those light waves. So all of that is done with the holographic camera, okay? This knowledge has been around. It's also color, light, and sound. This knowledge has been around since before Atlantis. On this planet, and it has existed off-world for tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of years with other star nations and star-traveling pioneers. They understood a very, very long time ago that our bodies are holographic. That's also in the Gateway study, guys. Read that entire study from start to finish. It'll be there. I'll put that at the top, I think. And he says, so we're holographic. Got that? Our bodies are holographs. That we are essentially made, this body sitting here, is essentially made of color, light, and sound. And it wasn't until, 25, 30 years ago that we were able to scientifically prove that by looking at the body under an electron microscope, and what they did not see was physicality. There was nothing physical. What they saw was light under an electron microscope. Now, Nikola Tesla has talked about all of these types of different technologies or concepts that we knew to be true simply because he was a genius. But of course, he was having contact in his own way as well during his lifetime. So he's saying he was in constant contact with off-world life. But he was just the genius. And I don't know. So basically that was Dan. Dan was getting contact from off-world people guiding him. He was the genius, okay? So he was able to do something with that. He said, but he was just the genius, and I don't know that there's been anyone like him since. That's going far, guys. Tesla is the man. But the technology wasn't there for him to actually put all of this together to where it is today. Unfortunately, he didn't live long enough. Let's hope Dan did, huh? So essentially, what we are talking about here is healing the human body. Now, the holographic camera that the Andromedans used, it's a camera. What it does is it takes a picture of your body, and this picture, because it's holographic, is a picture of the present time. When the picture's being taken, and it goes all the way back to conception, and what they do is they will go through the series of slides. So they take it now in real time, and this holographic thing goes back and takes numerous slides, like a cartoon almost, how they used to do those slides, numerous slides of all of your parts of your body. But it seems like it's relatively simple to do. I can't imagine that, but they say it sounds like it is. Then the series of slides that are taken in this one picture, and what they do is they will pull out, there you go. So that one picture that they take of your body, that holographic camera, takes every cell in your body throughout time in different slides. And he says, so what they'll do is they'll take out the particular slides of where your body was the healthiest. So all through time, right? Gosh, it's insane. Whether it's kidneys, liver, muscle, knees, brain, heart, it doesn't matter. And what they will do is they will put those pictures together and create a new hologram, a new whole image with the new pieces, like puzzle pieces, going in to the broke ones. So they create that new hologram, and then what they do is they overlay that holographic picture onto your physical body, literally healing it and narrowing your body while you're there. Oh, I'm sorry, and renewing your body while you're there. Well, I'm just, like I said, some of the stuff I had put away and everything I've got is consistent with this, but it came intuitively, guys. It came intuitively, much of it did. Not that I didn't have to study and work and research, but that it led me places intuitively to look. So I'm just reading this part for the first time because I wanted to get this up before the 4th. And so this particular one I hadn't read completely through. So it's renewing your body while you're there. So got that? They take a holographic picture. Now, I'm assuming that because also one of the other beds talked about they take a blood sample. So that it's all the same technology is what I'm getting here. It's just that, and of course I don't even know what these laser beds are about, that people talk about. That's man stuff. That's not what he's talking about here. That's not the off-world med beds. So one of them is blood, we know, and then one of them is a holographic camera that scans you. We still haven't gotten the third one clarified unless it was the thing. It might have been the sample. Because remember they said you can take the blood, you can take a sample, or you can take a holographic camera and get the image and do it that way. So that's the 3 beds. Okay. To the best of what I can get out of this. Unbelievable. And they take, and whatever pieces, it's that holographic image, and they take it. And whatever broke pieces are, it's like they put little, what are those called when you put little, like an SD card in there with memory or whatever in those slots where it's broken. It's just, and then that whole thing just, boom, all at once goes on your body. And how long it has to be there depends on a lot of things, I'm sure. They haven't talked about cohesiveness, but the Gateway study did talk about cohesiveness. So the more practiced you are at being cohesive and coherence, the more practiced you are being coherent and balancing those two sides of your brain, I believe it can just speed things up for you a little bit. Okay, and then he says, it's just there are no words. And to them, it's simple because they understand it. That's how I feel exactly. How do you... It's incomprehensible. But to these beings, it's that. They understand every part of it. And we will too someday. We will too. They have all the knowledge. Nothing's been suppressed for them, as it was for us. And they understand who we are and what we are here on Earth. However, and in other star systems that have been controlled and manipulated by the Orion group, we haven't had the education or that knowledge. But nonetheless, the technology is coming out. This technology has been created. Wow, that's the first time I heard that guy. Guys, I don't know. That's really wild, although I kind of knew most of it. Okay, so January 19th. I don't know if I responded to that at that time or what. It looks like I didn't immediately respond to that, or I cut some out. That was 12:26, 7:50 that night. So there might have been a couple in there that I took out for whatever reason. I said, "You're the best. Are you going to Conscious Life Expo next month? Have a good weekend." And the reason I included that is I wanted you to know Dan a little better, if you don't already. So Dan said, "No, I'm pretty much a hermit. The Orlando conference was my first and only. And then after that, there were so many invitations for him. People just loved him. I did that only because I wanted to present this technology gift from the Galactic Federation of Worlds through Jenhan Iridian. Between Alex Collier, Randy Kramer, and Jenhan Iridian's description, that should give you a good overview of the way the technology works. It's incredibly advanced. The world needs this as soon as possible. Would love nothing more than to see the corrupt medical system dismantled and updated." And then I said, "I don't blame you for being a hermit. I've been one for years, but it looks like my job is to get out a little more and do what I can to wake people up. Thank you for directing me to the info on the med beds. I think that people are becoming more interested in this technology. Many people are angry and turning away from the industrial medical complex. The problem is they are trying to heal themselves with quick fixes and scams." Guys, I've told you this. There is not one quick fix. You must become one with nature. You must respect your body. And your body is forgiving. You want to have a Coke here or something else that's not like Tim has already told me he's having a Coke for the 4th of July tomorrow. We're going to Busch Gardens, and he's already told me that he's having a Coke. So, and he's really clean about his eating and everything. So, your body can take once in a while, but you have to connect with it. You have to understand. And you have to understand that those pills in bottles, that is not the medicine of the future. The medicine of the future is frequency and becoming symbiotic with what the Creator gave us on this planet. We should be benefiting that, and they should be benefiting us. And so then Dan responds. Oh, wait, is this the same one? Yeah, okay, so it must be a response to this because it was 1:58 the next day, and I did that at late at night, 9:23. He says, "Hi, Spirit. Waking more people up is probably one of the most important things to do on this planet. I know Thor Han would approve. It's the Great Divide, using psychological warfare upon us, that hinders the planet's liberation forward. That is the topic at the end of this month that I'll be doing with Sasha Stone. So they're going to be talking about psychological warfare. We've talked about it many times. I'm not going to say it breaks my heart to see when you guys are listening to this psychological warfare and people that clearly I know are engaged in it against you. It's the path, guys. That's all I can say. I can't call out every one of them. And if I made a list of everybody that was using psychological warfare on you right now on the internet, I'd have to make a new list every couple weeks because just new ones crop up every day. You got to find a foundation and stick to it. Somebody you know you can rely on. And he said that psychological warfare that's being used is what's hindering us, guys. That's what's hindering us. Don't just click on something without researching it. It's harming us. It's slowing this whole thing down. And so then he got in. We must have been talking about his very, very proud of his home and his food supply that he had. And he said originally was going to do aquaponics, because I also have some minor ridiculous neophyte type hydroponics, but they do the job as best I can right now in the situation I'm in. I don't have a big greenhouse. So he says originally was going to do aquaponics in the greenhouse, but instead went with vermicomposting towers. And actually, I have to look that out because I don't even know what it is. Like I said, many of these I just was jamming. And I look at myself and I think, how stupid was I that I didn't just hang on every word this man said to me. He was giving me such great wisdom. So I'm going to look in those vermicomposting towers anyway, and you might want to too. He says they're low maintenance and a very forgiving system. Here's a little greenhouse tour. And that link was a YouTube that he had up of his own greenhouse. Some of you may have seen it, some of you may not. And he's back to the voice. He says, I'm so impressed with the realistic voice generation in video. So he went and checked out what I was using at the time. I'm not anymore. I had to dump it. It was costing me $160 a month. And I'm not making a dime on YouTube because they demonetized me. So, and I have other softwares that I'm paying too. So, at the time I was using that and it got my butt demonetized, they say. I don't know whether it's the content or whether it was the AI, which was the excuse. So anyway, he says, a few years ago, I searched the web for text-to-speech, and it was nothing like this. I was making audio files for security systems that would alert you in voice for different situations. Isn't that weird? He was doing that. I'm still working on breaking my bad speaking habit of saying, you know. That's funny. I wonder if all those you knows where it was him putting down what... no, it wasn't, because it was very much different. Randy's style that I read was very different. You can see Dan writes beautifully. He writes very nice. So he says, wow, so a hurricane hit your place. I had mentioned that. And then he talked, our cement dome is guaranteed against hurricanes like this one in Florida. And he gave me the link and he said, enjoy your weekend. So he was living in a concrete dome on a mountain, growing all his own food. Hi, Spirit. Thank you for all of that. Wow, so all of this time, that was the 21st. This went on for a month, right? This went on for a month. Almost every day we were communicating at this point. And he says, wow, so you are an ex-pharmacist? And so cool. You have knowledge on both worlds to reference to. I think I have a great-grandfather's DNA speaking to me who was going up against the Rockefeller medical system in the early 1900s. See, and I was so focused, guys, that I would have loved to have explored that more with him. He did put a link on... That was the problem. He always gave me all these links because just like me, I give you guys these links. He had so much content and I just don't have time to sit and watch long videos. So he has that on there about... I'm going to read that about his grandfather going up against the Rockefeller medical system in the 1900s. He says, I write about this stuff, but carefully, of course. So that's kind of saying we got to be careful. You said that you were also a government agent. Could you fill me in on the government agent part? In 1999, my wife and I lived in an Airstream trailer on top of this hill for about 3 years and then started building their dome in 2004. And he's got that on a third website that he has, which is Dream Hill Research. It's been a lighter winter, 53 degrees outside right now, and only showed once so far. Not always the case. Oh, only snowed, once so far. This one's a little fuzzy. I'm going to have to try and sharpen it up for you guys. Not always the case. I love the forest, but hate the winter weather. I wanted to get him down here to Florida and have him stay in this very room, actually, would be our guest room, but... that didn't work out, but Rebecca's still welcome if she chooses to come to Florida. He says, I'm from San Diego where it is 70 degrees year round, but the air up here is so much cleaner and clear of pollution. The voices I have customized for different alarm points. And he was so proud to tell me his work. I have pretty much custom automated most of the things. I'm handy that way. Lots of years working with the Naval Electronics Engineering Center and also a broadcast engineer. So this stuff is easy for me. I'm helping Elena's mate with his off-grid system since he has zero tech background. And Elena, I remember when she was doing those videos in the hotel to do her online work while he gets the system operational, which has a number of hurdles yet. So this guy was off-grid, and he had his own electricity going in all kinds of ways. When you do news reports as an ABC newsman, you are reading a script, you know, enjoying a snow-free day. I don't know why he said that. Maybe because he knew I wasn't going back and reading every link he gave me, and maybe, I said something stupid somewhere along the way and didn't say that. Didn't respond as I should have or something. So anyway, the next one is free. We're getting there, guys. The next one is for me. I told you I had a lot of emails, guys, and this is this much. Yes, LOL, that's me. You know me. You didn't think I was a pharmacist? I thought it was hilarious, and you didn't realize I was a real pharmacist. I said, yes, I worked for the state of Florida in an agency within the DHS. It changed so much, I don't remember every name, but one was the Office of Drug Control. I was one of several agents in the state. Basically, we had jurisdiction over drugs, medical devices, and cosmetics, anywhere they were. And that meant even in your home. If you had harmful products, we were one of 7 people in the state, one of 7 agents in the state that had statutory authority because it was a public health threat. Now look what they're doing. Now you can't even go as ICE with a warrant and go and pick these people up. It's just insane. So, I could get the drugs, devices, and cosmetics anywhere they were. A doctor's office, a pharmacy, a hospital, an illegal distribution operation, etc. It was the drugs that we had jurisdiction over, not the practice of profession. So if a pharmacist didn't practice properly or filled a prescription wrong, that was none of my business. I had to make sure that the drugs were safe. The jurisdiction was very much like FDA, except that we don't have a separate criminal and regulatory divisions. We did it all, criminal and regulatory work. So I was a health regulator and a health fraud investigator. So maybe that explains why I flip-flop between those. It was a multi-hat type job. I've seen a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. The department heads were screw-ups. Gosh, well... Oh well, it's out there. There was and the way I left anyway was they probably figured I would say that. There was an investigation. The department was shut down and the duties were absorbed by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. There was a book written about it called Dangerous Doses by Catherine Ebon. I sent a scathing letter to the governor when I quit, and my resignation was mentioned in this book. Tim and I lived in a motorhome for a couple of years before we bought our home in I'm going to redact that. Before we bought our home. Your home is paradise. I love the mountains, but have to be near the rhythm of the beach. My dream would be to have a home in the mountains and one at the beach. I've always had that dream. I can't believe that it's so warm up there. My friend in New Hampshire is freezing. Who made you move up there? Or what made you move up there? Is your wife from there? And he says, yes, that electrical knowledge is very handy. No, I told him. I said, yes, this is me. Yes, that electrical knowledge is very handy. Tim is a drummer. We are rebuilding our house still, as I said, and he never even painted. He's getting better. Put cabinets and shelves in my closet so I can finally unpack my clothes. This was after the hurricane, I was telling you. We're still not done with the house. We're getting there, but electricity is something neither of us will tackle. And then I said, well, Elena has to rent a room to work online. That's tough. So they were getting their electrical off-grid system up. Do you guys think that it's going to get rough over the coming years? Is that what you are? Is that why you were off the grid? An ex-boyfriend of mine was off grid in Wyoming, but he didn't have the electricity. It's an adjustment to be so far out for sure. Should Tim and I consider moving off grid? We were thinking of getting an island lot and building a dome home, but hadn't considered going off grid. Oh yes, it's so obvious that the talking heads are reading scripts. I'm responding to him saying how they read the scripts when he was on with ABC, I think it was. It's very obvious that the talking heads are reading scripts. If you guys haven't seen it, guys, they're just better at it than I am, okay? Why do they all read the same script? You think the puppet masters would at least mix it up, but they all are just so blatant about it. So I put a video on counter-disclosure assets on Rumble. I hope you don't mind, but I mentioned you in it, and I gave the link there. I had a couple of things, but forgot them. Age sucks, LOL. You know, I forget a lot. But I remember a lot too. But I just got a question, which was a pretty good one. The question is, if everyone is going to live for hundreds of years, where are we going to put them all from the overpopulation standpoint? I have some ideas of other worlds that may become available, but wanted your take. Sorry this took so long. Hope you are well. And then Dan says, I like that you took some elements from the counter-disclosure asset page and created that video. Fortunately, the Nebu Grays pictured at the end have been neutralized back in 2021. We've heard this, guys, so many times. Elena's told us. I've told you a million times. Maybe not a million, but I've told you a lot. These bad ETs are gone. That was like one of the first things that had to be done before this whole operation went down. So they're gone. So when you see, or if you should see, some scare tactics about these people coming and these aliens infiltrating, that's what it is. It's fear. Turn it off. You're listening to the wrong people. Okay, and he said, I moved up here in 1999 because I wanted a place in nature and to get out of the big city of San Diego. The plan was to have a city place and a country place. The country place consumed so much of my time and effort and money that I ended up staying up here. To me, it was a fun project to see how I could live, how well I could live while eliminating all overhead at the same time. I have pretty much mastered that, as I live on a small Social Security and VA disability from the Vietnam War. There's our 4th of July. There's our soldier guy. He was a Vietnam veteran, and he was disabled by it. My future wife was living, so Rebecca was his future wife at the time, was living in the area, but she is originally from Burbank, California. Florida has some strange draconian laws regarding living off the grid, which they don't want you to do. With the amount of sun you get there, it would be easy to live off the grid. It really would, guys. It's so hot all the time. Since 1999, we have been. If you need any advice on that, I'm glad to help. I would recommend it, but check Florida's laws first. So he was saying get off the grid, huh? Regarding why off the grid. First, I don't like being dependent on anything that can go down, and I don't like monthly bills. He was cheap too, like me. Secondly, there is the possibility of an attack on our grid system and all the millions of illegals, which appears to be a coordinated plan. Oh, okay, so his reason for leaving was twofold. We might expect the possibility of an attack on the grid, and also he wanted to be away from the illegals. Giving them cell phones and money, etc. He knew it wasn't right. We all know it's not right. Even these politicians sitting up there. I'm not even going to go with what I saw today in the courts of one of the angel moms, how this dark foreigner who's in our Congress, she's one of the top 3 Arabs there or whatever, and she was complaining that it was their 4th meeting, and these mothers are sitting there with their kids. This one lady said, she said, you know what, I'm sorry I'm taking your time up, she told the lady. She said, but how would you like to live every day being thankful that your child was only shot and killed and not raped and tortured? It's just unbelievable what these people in there can say with a straight face. Considering you are in Hurricane Alley, a dome wouldn't be a bad choice. The company we bought our kit from, so it was a kit and he put it together, from in Florida, of all places, has since gone out of business. They guaranteed their domes against hurricanes. And then he said, an island, how cool. But as you can see from my site link previously, it's a lot of work. And then he has some stuff talking about the control of our media and our main topics. He was always giving me stuff, and I just was so self-consumed and trying to produce the content that I should have. I'm going to now, though. I can tell you that. You'll be seeing a lot more of the wisdom that he left behind for me. I addressed the overpopulation concern in this recent visualization. Basically, with the technologies released, many areas are able to be inhabitable on and off planet. So once we get these technologies to the moon, Alice, okay? And then this one was January 24th, 4:25 p.m. I said, yes, I saw the work you did. Tim and I would be the two stooges trying such an undertaking. We actually went to a place in Orlando or Tampa because there were several domes in one area, but nobody was there. There was no contact info. Maybe that was the place that you got them from. It was about 2 years ago. We aren't going anywhere for a while. Still have to finish the rebuild, and I expect the real estate market to crash, which it's doing. It's been, although they're really holding it well, aren't they? They're really holding it well. I'm not upside down yet, let's put it that way. It's been dropping for a few months. I'm on Social Security and state retirement, but my hubby is a hardworking guy, and it helps. But things are going crazy. I lost my hydros and food, and food is ridiculous. So I lost what I was saying there was I lost my hydros in the hurricane, and food just got so expensive and ridiculous, and just got to live in the now and hope that it won't be long till people aren't struggling so much. On the video, it was in video, I tried to have it produce an exact script which included all 20 of the guidelines, but I kept changing my script. It was late, I was tired of fighting with the machine, and I promised it to the people. I would have liked to have done more. Working on one, about his crystals. Working on one on crystals too. I'm mostly going, this is very blurry, I'm going to have to tighten this up. I'm mostly going from the health aspect, the real ex-pharmacist, LOL. And I'm going to also, going to touch on using it for power. So many people with such different experience, using the crystal for power. Many people with such different experiences. I try to be edgy, but also reach those that are just open to waking up. Okay, I am working on another that's a script. I hope InVideo doesn't change it. It's a woman with insight on what's going on in the tunnels from a friend that's in the helicopters. If InVideo changes her words, I'll have to pull out Adobe Premiere again. InVideo has made me lazy, and I always learned nothing more than I had to about Premiere. About the Adobe Premiere. It was wild. I never, I just do what I have to get what I have to get done. And I said, so the grays, so all grays are Nebu. Were they bad? So all grays are Nebu, ? Were they bad? ? 2021, a peculiar time. That I said that because that was right after Trump left office. So that must have been something. Maybe, you never know, guys. Maybe whether those dark aliens were removed had something to do with whether the election was going to go to Biden or Trump. Maybe if they were still here, it wasn't going to go to Biden. So it's kind of odd. So you and Rebecca aren't married, and I had messed up there. Don't worry about that. They were. Okay, a friend who vouched for you said you guys were married. What are you waiting for? You've got the backdrop for sure. He was married. It was just how I had taken how he said my future wife I was always reading these things so quickly. I never gave them the attention that they deserved. I don't know about the laws off-grid. I know each county has different laws, but up in North Pinellas County, they forced me to hook up to a sewer. We're on septic here, but it's through the city. That's an interesting question, but we are staying for now. The hurricane did supply us with plenty of military rations that we didn't eat, so we might not have power, but we'll be fat. Sorry. Connect the grid going down with the illegals. And I, now that I've read it closely and slowly, I get it. Do you think that they will be removed when the grid goes down? So I was trying to clarify that. I think he was meaning it as two different reasons he left. Or that the deep state has given them the phones and will activate them in some way when the grid goes down. I have been hearing the second scenario. Oh, so people were saying that they're giving these phones so that they know when the grid's going down. Do you really think the deep state has that much power? Thanks for the links. You are a treasured resource. I put up a Rumble channel for information that is sensitive. I'm still feeling out the limits of YouTube. Well, I found out, didn't I? FAFO to me. If you hosted it on YouTube, then I'm good with just a link to you. Take care. I guess he posted one of my videos or something, and I said I'm good with just a link. Take care. The beautiful outside down there. It's beautiful outside today. Sorry, guys. I haven't had any dinner, so I'm kind of... And it's 8:30, so... How many more do we have here? We got two more. All right, two more emails. All right. He says, "Hi, Spirit. Love your videos, and so glad you and Steph worked things out." There was an issue. I had one of Elena's people had told Steph, who's Elena's sister, that I was plagiarizing, and she didn't even, I guess, watch it, but she put a strike against me very early on. I was out a couple of months here. Well, no, I was maybe 6 months or so. So Dan intervened for me and contacted Steph and said, she's a friend of mine, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what he said, but anyway, Steph pulled it off and said that it was not a copyright strike and pulled it off. And it wasn't. I was never just copied what she did, but I would quote her. And I always gave her links. So there's just some zealous people, and you have to admire them for being vigilant and not wanting other people to plagiarize work and then bastardize it and twist it around like the media does. So I never blamed anybody. I just was freaked because I had a strike at 6 months old. So that's what I said. Back to the consent. So apparently this is something that I put in there, and I'm going to read this because he did respond to it. "Hi, Dan. I hope you are well and glowing with inspiration. I'm sorry to bother you." Oh, no. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. So this was a question that I specifically had. Sorry to bother you, but I had quite a lot of people asking about genetic abnormalities. So maybe you're watching now, or maybe you have a concern about genetic abnormalities. You'll enjoy this one. That you might want to ask Elena or Thor when you have the opportunity. Here you go. This is the question that I received. If the holographic medbeds scan back to conception, what happens to genetic DNA since its existence is simultaneous with conception? Do you believe that the holographic beds can scan conception without the faulty DNA? Do you think that the concept of heredity or DNA transfer does not exist? I'm kind of thinking that, guys. I really am. From everything I'm hearing, and I understand about so much more now than I did when I was a pharmacist, I really do think that I'm beginning to think that faulty DNA is, or hereditary stuff is just wrong. And it could be deliberate to keep us stupid. Or do one of the other types of beds deal with hereditary or other issues not addressed in the holographs? Now, again, nothing we have heard indicates anything except those three differences that we've seen: blood, tissue, and a camera. And then Dan says to me, since according to Alex Collier, it can pull out slides in time when your DNA was most optimal, but you may have inherited a DNA defect from your parents spans throughout that lifetime is a good question. I know from Elena that Prince Ea, the one who originated our DNA, has given the Earth Alliance the original DNA codes before the a-hole screwed with it, okay, to make us dumbed down slaves. So this, I understand, has been incorporated into the med beds on the moon. Those that want to know where the med beds are, I try and stay away, because if you're just waking up to this, you're going to think it's pretty crazy, but there's stockpiles on the moon. This is over and over again. I've been told this, and Elena shared that with Dan, and it's pretty well known in the community. And of course, it's voluntary to have it, but it will correct any hereditary defects in the family bloodline. So this is a good thing. All right, so you're hearing that? Prince Ea I don't want to hear about his background. He was a good person. Elena says he's a good person. If you're thinking he's a bad person, you're listening to misinformation. So he has the perfect DNA, and it's going to be incorporated into the beds. So it seems like that it's optional, Dan said, whether you want to use that original 12 strand, I guess is what they're talking about. Although I never got an answer on the 12 strands. But there'll be a copy of that in the beds, and you have the option of using that, and maybe that is what's used when it goes back to genetic type things. And then he just says, hope you can make it to GSIC. Thorhan has said they will show their ships at the conference. I'm currently working on my 1-hour presentation, boiling down 170 slides to fit. Keep up your wonderful work educating the public, my dear friend. So I did make it to GSEC, and Thorhan did produce their ships at the conference. And it's not happened again since. First and only time, and then it was shut down. So, you know what I'm saying, guys? Why? Why was I putting all... What is leading me to all these places to go to them? You know, it's just... My whole life has been like this. It's just been flying by the seat of my pants, and this is where it got me. So, this is the last one I'm putting. I said, oh my God, that's wonderful. I'm so glad to hear that. I will share that information with my subscribers about the genetic abnormalities. Now, you really have gotten me excited about the conference. It's looking good after the hurricane things got financially difficult, so we weren't sure if we were going to be able to swing it. But we spent some time going over finances and the ExPharmacist. And so that you don't think I made much, this was like my first check that I got was $1,100. That's before I started being suppressed. I never had another one since. Never anything close. I think 3, 4, 5 was tops, other than that first month, and then they started suppressing it. So that first check is what got me to see Thorhan's, Thorhan's crafts in the sky. I'm focusing on meditations for people. Many of my subscribers are older people that have never tried self-healing, and I'm hoping we can help them hang on until the technologies reach us. It's a lot of work, but if I can help just one, it will be great. I'm honored, guys. I can only say I'm honored to have this position. I don't know why, but I'm honored. I'm excited about seeing you next month. And I got lots of hugs from him. I don't know if I could have grown this much without your support. I've slipped some links to you and Elena in various comments. I think we're reaching quite a few people. 100 slides is still quite a bit. And by the way, he's copied me on the slides. I've got copies of all his slides. And Dan has literally given me years of work, guys, to share with you. 170 slides is still quite a bit, but you are going to wow them. I can't wait. Thanks for clarifying. This is very good news. I think I will do a short or quick video on it, which will reach more people than the community board post. Guys, I'm posting on the community board as much as I can. Things, little things that are quick things, and some are longer things. But please, some things get buried in the comments. So go up to that main thing, look at posts. There's a button there, and I put, when somebody has something important to say or something where we can have a good discussion and get some clarity on something, I post it on there. I'm using that. So they're just as beneficial as the videos are to use the bulletin board, and I'm trying very hard to do that. Okay, so tomorrow morning, 4th of July, actually midnight tonight, 4th of July, our Independence Day is coming, guys. I wanted to look up the gematria of 250. Did anybody do that? I'm not a expert on this whole gematria thing, but let's just see. What was it? 250. We'll close it off with this if there's anything good here. Paradise is 250. Child sacrifice is 250. Moron is 250. Meaning of code is 250. Space arc is 250. Connected is 250. Some of these words I don't understand what they are. Oh, wow. Genesis. Starting over, guys. Starting over is 250. Genesis. We're being reborn, guys, and it's going to be so amazing. It really is. It's going to be so amazing. So that's it. We're going to Busch Gardens tomorrow. I probably won't be on the boards to answer too much, but you guys are so forgiving about that. I might do a little video of the fireworks. I might not. We'll see. We're going to and we're going to stay there in Tampa so we don't have to have the long drive back. But don't forget. Share, share, share. That's why I keep telling you. Share, wake people up. Have them screaming for these med beds, guys. That's how we're going to get there. Have them screaming. Yes, other stuff's being done in the background. Okay? But there was another thing that Dan had told me. Let me just go to this real quick. I know I said I was closing it, but I think it's important. This was done on a video of Dan's where I made a comment. It was recently before his passing. See if I can find it.
Passing NASA and pointing their highly...
Yep. Okay, so basically on this video that he put, MedBeds Fact or Fiction, that he did 6 months ago. 6 months ago, right before he got sick. Okay, so I said, great job, Dan. The thing that gets me about the 250K deaths a year from medical errors, 250 also medical errors, that's how many we have, is that they are preventable medication errors. Not medication, preventable medical errors, whether it's the doctor, the medicine, whatever. They're preventable. That's the scary part. And professional associations and lawmakers do very little to stop these preventable medical errors. I know, I worked in it. To this day, there's no laws requiring breaks for medical professionals. And now that most doctors and hospitals are under control of corporations, they have very little ability to adjust or slow down their practices. The machine just keeps processing as many customers as they can get through the system, and the healthcare professional is running around like a one-armed paper hanger. That may not sound like a big deal, but when pharmacists are creating IV solutions that can stop the heart for open heart surgery, you can't be rushed. Any medical professional that says they never made a mistake is either a liar or they just got their license to practice. The medical system has truly become dangerous, in my humble opinion. I don't know about Dr. Greenberg's quote about avoiding doctors and hospitals unless it's a serious accident, but this has been my rule of thumb my entire life. Even though I worked in numerous aspects of the medical matrix, I don't use the system and never did. At 71, I am on no chronic meds, and siblings that are years younger than me have cancer. Thank you for addressing the healthcare issue, along with your vast knowledge and the history and your genuine inside knowledge regarding the progress of the awakening. You and Elena remain my primary source for information and my solace, because I know that we are finally evolving beyond this atrocity that was forced upon mankind. Okay, and then Dan replied to that saying, "My dear friend, you know firsthand this subject well. Always appreciate all you do." And then I said, "Yes, gotcha. I think we are seeing more and more." Oh, wait, no. Then he said, I'm sorry, he posted another comment there, and he said, "Thank you, my dear friend. It needs to be seeded." Again, these aren't just words, guys. This is coming from high, from somebody that knows. The need that these med beds, we need to seed this into the public minds that this is not fiction. I don't care what you do, but seed it into their minds. Mention something, or share a video, or post a meme, or whatever you have to do. Start seeding it everywhere. What do we know about the brain? Repetition. The more the brain sees it, the more the brain hears it, it begins to believe it. So I know there's some hardcore people out there, but this is not a time to worry about ourselves being ridiculed or whatever. This is a time for awakening. This is a time for our independence. It needs to be hidden. It needs to be seeded into the public mind that this is not fiction, but a hidden reality to bring it into use on our planet. I'm going to close with that. Don't forget to subscribe, like, blah, blah, blah. I love you all, and I'll have a video up in a couple days, okay? I love you. Happy 4th of July. Make this the best ever because your life is about to change. Love you guys. Bye-bye.